having a chance to catch up with Katie Pounder. Katie, you're home, living well, staying well, obviously?
Yes, I am at home in Virginia.
Home in Virginia. How is Virginia? It's got to be nice and warm, nice and green, lots of things going on.
Yeah, it's been rainy the last couple of days, but definitely nice enough to be able to get outside and go for a nice run or walk occasionally.
Right on. So right now, your freshman year, is it final? Did we done all the exams completed, or we still have a couple more exams to go?
Yes, I'm finished. I finished on Monday, but the last day of the semester is technically today. So final grades will be coming in over the weekend and next week.
Well, how was your first year? Let's jump right into it. Freshman year, Lebanon Valley. Is it weird calling yourself a Dutchman? I mean, did they refer to the female team differently? I got to ask that.
No, they didn't refer to us different. We were just like the women's ice hockey team or like the women's soccer team. We were just the women's equivalent, but they were also like called the men's hockey team. So
okay.
Not really a difference.
Do you remember or can you recall your first days actually being a freshman student on campus?
Yes. So at LVC, because it's a smaller school, all of the new students moved in a weekend early and did their orientation right before school started. So I remember all of that very vividly, and all the emotions of moving in and meeting your roommate, and combined with starting classes in a couple of days was very high intensity, very exciting time.
Would frantic be the right way to explain the first week?
Frantic or chaotic?
Chaotic, sure, okay. Now, because the season starts in the fall for you, were you on campus earlier practicing at all, or was it school first and then getting the team together?
So we actually were not on campus early. We didn't start official practices until the middle of October. So then instead of having an extended, the traditional like college winter break, we moved back into the dorms on right after winter break, or right after New Year's, and had a couple of weeks of just training before classes started again. So we had a shortened winter break as opposed to a summer break.
Okay, so it was a little bit later start in the year. Were you ready for that? Was that something you had to get used to?
For sure. At PMHA, obviously, we start games and play more games than we do practices the first week. So it was definitely an adjustment to have 2 to 3 weeks of practices before you play a real game. But it definitely allowed for more team chemistry before we're thrown into a game situation.
Awesome. So a little more team chemistry built. The team is from all over North America, really. I believe there was just 1 or 2 players from Canada, but a majority from the East Coast, a couple of California players. How was that chemistry building? What kind of activities were being done? Were you able to, introduce some, things you did at PMHA when you were here?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely got going right away with captain's practices, because captains are named around this time for next season. So we have already have a team group chat for next year going, and we're already working out. So we're definitely like staying connected as a team for next year. And then in the fall, I'm sure we'll do fun activities like apple picking we did last year, pumpkin carving, painting nights before the season starts to get that chemistry going.
Fabulous. Would you consider this year's team being a younger squad, or was it a mix of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors?
It was a mix. We had 6 or 7 seniors graduate this year, but we also had 8 freshmen. So it was definitely a mixed experience, which I think gives you some of the team dynamic for sure.
And let's talk about the academic side of things for just a quick second, Katie. You see that you've decided to go into the exercise sciences. Is that still the push for the next couple of years?
Actually, finished 2 semesters as an exercise science major and have decided I would much rather mental health rather than physical health. So I have changed to a psychology major to focus on not necessarily the exercise, but rather the mental side.
So you're reading me right now as we're going through this interview, right?
Not yet.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad. I always get wondered why psychology majors are always thinking what I'm saying, but nonetheless, congratulations on finishing your first year.
Thank you.
What were some of the highlights of your year? I mean, not a lot of points, but nonetheless, a lot of activity on the ice, playing with a new group of girls, which was great. The travel obviously was a little bit more easier for you, I would say, being at home, near home. Go through some of the highlights of the year for you.
I think our first home weekend and having my parents there was a big deal for me. My parents, over the last 2 years in Pilot-Mound, didn't get to see me play too often. So being close to home and having my parents to go out to dinner with after a game was special for me. I'm sorry, my cat is going crazy.
Oh, good.
And then also being able to score my first NCAA goal was a big deal. And like I said, I didn't get very many points, but I was definitely able to, I felt like I contributed to the offensive abilities of our team this year, which was cool as a freshman.
You're a great skater, a great mind for offensive play and defensive play, great two-way player. What part of your game, Katie, this year really took it to the next level?
I learned how to shoot over the summer.
Okay.
So I worked on a quick release and shooting in stride, which I think going and playing NCAA compared to varsity level hockey, you definitely have to learn how to get pucks to the net quicker as opposed to harder. So even though all of my shots weren't necessarily to score goals, I was getting shots and contributing offensively and getting rebounds and stuff, which was different than in Pilot-Mound where you're always shooting to score, but those second chance opportunities are a big thing, especially in the league that I'm playing in now.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear we're working on the offensive. The sharpshooter, Katie Pounder, the next level is fantastic. We got to quickly talk on, not this past year, but the year prior, 2 years in Pilot-Mound. You touched on not having your family around, but you had your family in the locker room. That bond that you had in Pilot-Mound, do you miss it? And what do you take from, you know, those relationships now that you're at NCAA division hockey?
I definitely do miss Pilot-Mound. It's become a home away from home. But I think mostly the academy taught me how to advocate for myself and to speak up when I feel that I'm not being heard. So coming in as a freshman with a team of 6 or 7 seniors, I definitely took a back seat as far as leadership. But as the season went on and I became more comfortable on the team, I felt the need to advocate for myself with the coaches and with my players, as well as in the classroom with being able to learn how to study, which was a big thing that I learned in Pilot-Mound, is how to study and how to prepare for exams, which is a big deal in college.
No doubt, time management skills are key. Did you still maintain some of that time management perspective at your freshman year?
Yeah, I did, especially after the transition to online with everything going on. Definitely being at home and being able to just watch TV all day. You needed those time management skills that I think I learned in Pilot-Mound and being around all of the girls.
No doubt. Class sizes, were they both the same? Were they a little bit larger in your freshman year?
Compared to Pilot-Mound, yes, they were. A few were about the same, but I did have a chemistry lecture that was about 60 kids, which was larger than my graduating class. So that was an adjustment. Was
that your largest class, 60 people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my largest class. My smallest was 15, though. So
okay. Were you a full-time student, obviously? Did you have to maintain a full-time status to play on the hockey team?
Yeah, so NCAA requires that at LVC that you take 12 credits worth of classes. But as a freshman, you're required, through my college, you're required to take 15 credits, so that wasn't an issue.
Okay.
But yes, you definitely are required through NCAA to maintain a certain grade point average as well as a certain number of credits per semester to be able to play your sport.
So that student athlete definition is being held up tremendously by yourself as well as the club. And do you have those checkpoints and those checks and balances set up with your coaching staff as well as your instructors? Do they work together to make sure you're making grade?
Not so much as they did at in Pilot-Mound, but they definitely, my coaches and my professors were definitely always willing to help if I was ever struggling with the class. But there was not necessarily as much interaction between my coaches and professors as much as like myself and my coaches or professors.
So the last question we're going to ask you real quick before we head to break, Katie, I got to ask you this. When it comes to the preparation, not on the ice, off the ice, personal, but just the administrative side of things, I mean, SATs and ACTs, if you had to write them, and making sure that all those rules are put in place, Pilot-Mound gave you that access and that opportunity to make sure that you were graduating last year and you knew where you were going come the fall of 2019.
Yes, for sure. I actually ended up taking my SAT in Winnipeg the spring of my junior year, and I was lucky enough that I only had to take it once. I know.
I've taken them a couple times. They're not fun sometimes.
No, they're definitely not, especially driving 2 hours there and from.
Yeah.
But yes, I was obviously given transportation to and from the SAT, as well as given the opportunity to take it in the first place, which was definitely helpful when it came to picking a university.
It's always been a big proponent to the academy and Rod Collins' dream and making sure that he's able to give that access to both the male and the female squads. Do you remember how many players in your senior year wrote SATs? Because there was about 7 of you that went on to the next level last year, correct?
Yes. I did not write it my senior year, but I think probably 4 of us total ended up taking it at least during our time in Pilot-Mound. I'm not sure if others took it once they went home.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Have you kept in touch with any of the senior class from last year and shared stories of freshman hockey?
Minimally. I'm sure we're all very, very busy with our own academics and athletics, but we still do communicate through like Snapchat or Instagram, and we see each other's posts. And I'm always excited to see where my teammates who graduated are and how they're doing in school and stuff.
That's amazing news. We're going to take a quick break, Katie. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about life off the ice a little more and how you've been so successful your freshman year. Just hang with us.
Okay.
Katie Pounder of the Lebanon Valley Dutchman. I have to say, Katie, I'm kind of impressed with the logo. Not that it's just a male, but they should have a female version of that because that's a pretty cool logo. It's not an animal. It's not a. You've traded your horns in for a buffed kind of Dutchman.
Yes, I have for sure. Blonde-haired man.
Do you still sport the Pilot-Mound gear once in a while around campus?
I do. Yeah. Everybody's like, "Well, you went to a hockey academy," and I'm like, "Yeah."
How does that comment go well with the rest of your players? I mean, you've got quite a number of players from the East Coast, one from up in Ontario I saw, and one from a couple from California. How do you compare stories about where you've played and the travels you've had, getting you to everyone together in that locker room this year?
People are definitely surprised when they realize that I live 2 hours away, but I graduated high school 26 hours away. They're like, "Wait, what?" And then obviously an old teammate, Michaela Pitta, who also graduated from the academy the year before.
Right.
And all of the men's players are always so confused when they find out that we played together, but I'm from the East Coast and she's from Alaska.
Right. I saw that she was from up in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys, did you just step on the next page right together and start working together when you got together back at school, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
We were line mates in Pilot-Mound, and we started the season as line mates at LVC. Probably one of my best friends on the team.
Was it one of the decisions on why you chose LVC going into this year?
I would say so. I don't think it was the deciding factor, but I think to be able to go in to college hockey with a familiar face is a big deal, and definitely made the transition easier.
I would agree with you 100%. I mean, it's always great to have a line mate or a classmate or someone that you've graduated with going to the same school. I mean, we had a band of brothers back when I graduated high school. I won't say when, but there was like 7 of us that all went to the same college afterwards. So we had a pretty good idea, and I'm glad you were able to do that with Michaela. I think also you talked a lot about not just this year, but the 2 years in Pilot-Mound, not having family close by, and you live 2 hours away from school. Did you get a lot of visits from mom and dad?
Yeah, they came to almost every home game, which was awesome. And to be able to come home for like an extended weekend was definitely something that I did not get the opportunity to do in Pilot-Mound, which was fun to be able to do now.
No doubt. I mean, obviously Thanksgiving celebrated at home this year.
Yes, for the first time in 3 years.
I was going to say that's got to be like a highlight for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just hanging out with the fam. And did they bring you certain care packages when they came for home games? And if so, what did they like bringing you the most?
I wouldn't say care packages, but my mom would always stop at Wegmans and pick me up either a treat for after the game or some sort of like cheese and crackers to be able to take home if I had a game the next day. So it was just like the little things that made them coming special.
Absolutely. Those little somethings that mom and dad know that what Katie wants to have after a game. Yeah. That's always cool. Where was the funnest place to go travel this year with the team?
We honestly did not travel that much to the point that we stayed in hotels, but we did travel to upstate New York to play William Smith and Elmira, and that weekend it was actually snowing, so it reminded me a little bit of Pilot-Mound, which I guess would be the best place that we traveled. Okay. Other than that, it was mostly like driving to Pittsburgh, playing a game, and then driving back home and getting home late, and then driving out the next day for another game.
People in Canada don't realize how close a lot of those major cities and college towns really are on the East Coast. I mean, you think of going from Virginia, Pennsylvania, DC, New York, like Southern New York, all those are with like a 2-3 hour drive. It's not like you're driving 7 or 8 hours and you think you're going nowhere land, and all of a sudden a little town pops up where there's a hockey rink. It's the East Coast has a lot of great hockey schools, and I mean, you've probably played a lot of them this year. What was the hardest opponent for you to play on the ice?
I would have to say Elmira. We played in their rink on their turf, which always makes it harder. Plus, they're a very well-established team and very skilled. So to be able to go out every shift and know that you have to compete hard, you can't take a shift off, was definitely different than playing some of the teams that were closer to us.
For sure. So a lot of bus trips. What were the best parts about bus trips that you can relate to?
I'd have to say Rookie Idol.
Oh, you did continue with Rookie Idol? Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. So there were about 8 freshmen on the team this year?
Yes.
So who had the best voice?
My roommate at the time, Tate Murphy, actually sings choir, so she definitely blew us all out of the water.
Well, she got a leg up. That's not fair. Yeah. Come on, that's not cool. I got to ask this question. Obviously, staying on campus, did you have a dorm style cafeteria that you were always at visiting?
Dining hall. Yeah.
So dining hall versus dorm style lunches and dinners. Which one do you miss most now that you're back home?
Probably the one in Pilot-Mound, because all the meals were prepared straight for us, and you just walk through the line and you got your food. At LVC, a lot of the meals you have to wait in line for because the campus is bigger. And at home, you have to make your own food. So,
nice. Who cooks better, mom or dad?
Mom, for sure.
Mom, for sure. Does she have a go-to special on today's menu?
For today, I don't know, but my favorite that she makes is chicken parmesan.
Oh, forget about it. Fantastic. Good stuff. I don't recall, Katie, do you have any siblings at all?
Yes, I have an older and a younger sister.
So did they come and enjoy some of the games as well, the home games especially?
My younger sister did, yes. My older sister was at school, so she made it to one game, I think, maybe two. And then she went abroad in the spring. So that was not an option anymore.
Clearly, I mean, she's abroad. She's not nearby home. The other question I got to ask you, because you're so close to home, was it good to reconnect with, you know, childhood friends and seeing them once in a while when you're able to, or have you been able to connect with them again now that you're not 26 hours away from home?
We definitely connect like over social media, but LVC unfortunately takes all of their fall breaks and winter breaks earlier than their schools. So it would be like a minimal like weekend that we had together that overlapped. So I did not get to see them as much as I would have hoped. But we definitely talk more now that seeing each other is an option. So
after your first year of freshman college, next year, whenever we have a chance to get back on the ice, what do you look, well, so before we get to the ice part of it, what do you look forward to now that you're off school for your freshman year and you have a chance to be at home?
Just spending time with my family and being able to cook out and do stuff outside. Barbecues with my uncles and stuff is something that I definitely missed out on in the spring for the last 2 years. So to be able to do that this spring, I'm excited to do.
Do you miss not being in high school?
I don't know. I miss
like you'd be in school right now. You wouldn't have May and June off, right?
Right. But I'm actually taking some summer classes this year, so I started up again on Monday.
Okay.
But I definitely miss the atmosphere in Pilot-Mound, but not necessarily how long high school is.
Right.
In general.
Yeah. Okay. Does LVC have that community feel? I know it's a little larger school, but does it have that community feel much like the town of Pilot-Mound does? Like, do people get to know who you are? Does it feel more like a closeness, that feel like a connection with the town there?
With the town, not so much, but with the campus, yes, definitely. Whenever you're walking to classes, you walk by somebody that you were in a class with, or that you know somebody who had a class with that person. So you're always saying hi to people, but the campus is relatively closed off from the town. So not necessarily when we're like going out to eat do we see like citizens who we know.
Do you enjoy campus life?
Yes, I do.
Simple answer. What is the best part about campus life? I mean, I love campus life, don't get me wrong. But what is your favorite part of being on campus and enjoying the semesters and then knowing that you've got a hockey game that weekend?
Probably the same thing as in Pilot-Mound, just being so close to your friends and to your teammates, as well as like to your classes. It's all a minimal like 5-minute walk away. And to be able to like spend time with your teammates whenever you want is something that definitely is underrated.
For sure. During this, these different times, these interesting times we're facing right now, Virginia is a little bit different than Canada, I think, in terms of isolation and, you know, obviously what's going on. What are your plans now that you're obviously taking summer school and semesters, but off-season training and then hoping to get on the ice in the fall time?
Yes. Training has definitely been cut short. If we were on campus, we'd be in the gym up until probably last week. But we are still required to maintain certain levels of flexibility and fitness on the side. But it's definitely been an adjustment. The strength and conditioning coach at LVC has done a great job of adjusting workouts so that they could be done at home, because obviously gyms are closed here as well. As well as like being outside in Virginia, it's tough to maintain social distancing because everybody's outside, but definitely to be able to stay in shape as well as like maintain your hockey skills at the same time is definitely something that can be done, but is difficult. So to be able to get back on the ice in the fall, I think everybody's going to need about a week to readjust. Unless we
absolutely, yeah. No, we're itching to get back on ice, get back to normalcy up here too. It's definitely times have been different over the last 2 months. We've been more of isolation, more longer of an isolation, I think. Katie, I want to thank you very much for joining me this fine day. And your family's always been a great supporter of Buffalo hockey, and I'm sure they love having you home or close to home. And the town certainly misses you. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Pilot-Mound team or any future seniors that are looking for that next level? What do they have to do in your eyes? What would you give them for a piece of advice or help, saying this is what you need to get done for the next level?
I would say, first of all, congratulations to the boys team for winning the CSSHL title. That's a big deal. As far as girls looking to play at the next level, I think developing confidence is a big deal. Not necessarily having the skill, but knowing that you have the skill is something that definitely takes your game to the next level, regardless of what level you're trying to get to. So to be able to play with confidence and a high intensity is definitely something that goes underestimated at the next level, and is something that I'm looking to bring to my game as well.
Building on the confidence, maintaining a GPA, a successful freshman year for you, Katie. Congratulations at LVC. Obviously next year with the different, it's not a big change in your major. I mean, it's just another couple different classes. You'll do fine. I know you will. But again, thank you very much for joining me, and have a safe and wonderful summer. And we'll hopefully catch up with you during the season next year and see how things are going.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katie Pounder with the Lebanon Valley College Dutchman, the female hockey team, joins me today on Amateur Sports TV. Thanks again.
Thanks.